Hello everyone. Welcome to the second part of this Mooc produced by the Coral team. Today we dive into the context of emerging collaborative workspaces in rural areas and try to see it beyond just a space of work, but a set of relations of work and like constellations. This module highlights the new geographies of work and rural collaborative workspaces and describes related driving forces and challenges. It explains interrelations with the hybridization of work practices and work-life constellations beyond the urban-rural dichotomy. It highlights the role of creativity and cultural regeneration programs to revalorize and reactivate territories. It explains how creative and cultural industries and collaborative workspaces can contribute to regional development programs at local and European level. Nowadays, more and more work is able to be done remotely in unconventional offices like collaborative workspaces. Some still prefer to share the urban buzz, but some choose to explore other possibilities outside of big cities. Depending on the type of work, some might also need spaces for handwork or prototyping things, and some resting rooms or areas for socializing. So imagine, if you are in a rural area and now can afford a bit more space for your workplace, what else would you wish to have? These workspaces are not only a space to work on your job, but also a space to provide and regenerate more functional, technical, social, and effective dimensions of our work and life constellations. Let's look into the concept of alternative work arrangements. Nowadays, work is characterized by more flexible employment relationships stemming from the rise of the internet and digitalization. Digitalization contributes substantially to this transformation of work, affecting both people who work primarily through the internet, as well as many other sectors that are managed and organized by digital tools. Such flexible work arrangements often claim to deliver better work-life balance, but quite the opposite is often delivered in reality, because work and life cannot be so easily separated as in traditional jobs. Moreover, we far too often focus on the convenience and the automated side of digitalization, sometimes rendering the drawbacks of efficiency too invisible. Therefore, what's important to bear in mind is that, through flexible work arrangements, not only is work altered, but also other dimensions of work. So now, imagine you are part of a community in a collaborative workspace. What would you discuss at a community meeting? A few possible questions would be regarding technical equipment, how shall we arrange it and cover the costs? Regarding the social dimension, how much are we willing to work on community building, and what are our actual needs for social life? Connecting to this, do we want to hire someone, like a community manager, to take care of it, or do we do it more on our own? And effectively, when each one has different needs and opinions, how do such decision-making processes influence the relationships between ourselves? And then, beyond the immediate coworkers in our group, do we want to establish more connections? How much? And with whom? So now we can understand and imagine that collaborative workspace carries more dimensions of work and life constellations for both coworkers and, sometimes, their local environments and beyond. In the following part, we take this angle as an example and zoom into the potential sociocultural role of collaborative workspace for both coworkers and broader local communities. Think bigger, beyond the four walls of collaborative workspace. Cities and regions have started to adopt different strategies to prevent and overcome challenges of economic and social restructuring by increasingly focusing on cultural development. Following this line of thought, culture can be either an integral part of a regional strategy, cultural regeneration, or it can provide the engine for development of a territory and its community, culture-led regeneration. Last but not least, it can simply coexist, without any mingling. That is, having cultural programs on the one hand and local development on the other hand, each following its own program. When cities and regions start undertaking a path towards cultural regeneration or creativity and culture-led development, there are different possibilities to do so. Some cities focus on constructing iconic landmarks to establish or change an image. Others take advantage of their rich historical legacy and focus on valorizing their past to stimulate present economic action. There are cities that opt to host a mega event such as the Olympic Games, the World Expo, or the European Capital of Culture program, or become a UNESCO cultural or natural heritage site to establish important international networks and attract visitors from all over the globe. Finally, there are cities that elaborate a distinctive theme and compete with it for their unique position and title in the world, as well as smaller cities and towns that distinguish themselves with a unique trait. Cultural development has been adopted to find alternatives for declining cities looking for solutions to replace lost manufacturing employment. We have learned that not only the urban but also the rural area can profit from such creativity and culture-led tools, that it makes sense to consider both top-down and bottom-up approaches, and that it is not enough to focus on physical factors only. Strategies for the development based on the creative and cultural industries comprise the concept of creative cluster, creative district, and creative city or region. While the former seeks to organize development by concentrating attention and resources around specific industries, like fashion, film, festivals, the second aims at injecting a specific area of the city with new technologies and new creative vibes and lifestyles. The concept of creative city or creative regions is more comprehensive and can be rather complex. Involving the whole city or region in a creative process is a complex endeavor whereby essential key elements need to be considered in order to be effective. This is when collaborative workspaces come into play and have the chance to act as a strategic tool for creatives and different kinds of stakeholders, providing them with open space and often with support to mingle, to think and work together, to discuss issues and shape future visions and development paths, which can be essential for the creative and cultural industries, for the local inhabitants, and for the territory and neighborhood they are embedded in.